Hello, it's Fee in a very beautiful place which is close to Ubud in Bali, and in a minute you may well hear a little bit of rain. In fact, in the background you might be able to hear rainwater dribbling away because we're just finishing the rainy season here. And I'm very happy with the temperatures of around 29 degrees. Thank you very much. And today it's my opportunity to dedicate Fee's 5 top high energy hacks for those of you who are busy, especially for busy mums who are juggling many responsibilities, many tasks in any given minute, let alone any given day. So let's get right into it. What is the first of these 5 high energy hacks? So the first one, and in fact it's going to be easy for you because together they spell the first 5 letters of the word energy. So E. What does the first E stand for? Well, E is everyday you time. Now that's a really interesting thing for me to say, so yeah, chance will be a fine thing. But basically what I want you to do is to do whatever it takes. And an ideal time is when maybe your kids are down, maybe when they're sleeping if you have that opportunity, or maybe your kids are at school, or maybe it's when your kids are doing something, they've got some kind of after school activity that they're busy doing, or maybe it's if they're preschool, it's something that they're busy doing, or like I say, ideally a nap time. And this is where you can simply take 5 minutes for you, or if you need to, if your kids are the right kind of age where they can be self-directive, at least for a little bit of time, this is where you lock yourself in the loo. Mummy's just going in the loo, she won't be long. And in those 5 minutes, what I suggest that you do is to see if you can focus on nothing. If you find that a little bit tricky, which I certainly have, in my mind-free time that I've been practicing, is to think about your breathing. We're going to talk about that in a second, but simply focus on your breathing for those 5 minutes. Okay, so that's the first E. Then the N in energy is nutrition. And what we're going to think about here, one key, because ideally we'll be eating really healthily every day, especially 3 or more healthy meals a day. That does not always happen, especially when we're feeding other mouths in our lives. And so when it comes to nutrition, the one key that I'm suggesting that you remember is keeping your food low GI, low glycemic index. And basically what that means for you is from the food that you'll then be eating, you'll get more energy for longer periods of time. It will sustain you for longer. So high GI would be a little bit like if you imagine you've got a fire burning in the corner of the room, an open fire, and you throw some kindling on that fire. It will burn brightly and produce a little bit of heat, but it will all be gone very quickly. Versus if you put a log on that fire, what will it do? Well, it will burn for longer and give you ultimately a lot more heat, and probably it will be stronger heat. So think of when we eat the food that we eat, so that's where we get our fats, our proteins, and our carbs and our fiber ideally as well. It's like we're putting some kind of fuel on our own fire. So we've got a furnace inside, and we're going to burn that. We want low GI, like putting on a log. Okay, so that's the nutrition. The E is for ensuring that we're balancing our body biochemistry. So BBB for short. It's a bit of a mouthful. And basically all that means is we've talked about the main fuel supply for our cells, the fats, proteins, carbs with fiber. But we also need to think about the nutrition, the micronutrition as I call it, to our cells. Because when our wee cells in our body, we've got 50 trillion of them, and they each are literally open mouths needing goodies for them to be able to work and do their best job. These micronutrients literally feed our cells at that micro level. But what they also allow them to do is various different functions. And this is related to catalysts that we need in our cells. Catalysts allow biochemical reactions to happen. So again, I don't want to get technical on this. I want to keep things as simple as possible. But basically, we need these to be able to release the energy from our cells. So we take in our food. We need to be able to break that down in the furnace and then be able to use that food in our cells to create our own energy supply. So we can do things like contracting muscles. So we can do things like thinking, etc. All right, so it's really important that we're getting the micronutrients into our cells and to focus on making sure we're doing that every day. And then the last one, the last of the 5 high energy top hacks for you is G, and this is making sure that we're getting hydrated. Okay, so we all know that we need to be drinking water, and it's a really interesting one because when I've done my research on this, it shows that it's one of the major reasons that we get many of the symptoms that we might get during the day when we're not feeling 100%. Like, have you ever had a foggy head or even headaches? Or maybe you've felt famished, you feel really hungry, and maybe it's not the time of the day that you should be feeling, or not should's the wrong word, but like you'd be thinking, well, I'm not sure why it is that I'm hungry. It may actually be that you're thirsty. Not always, many times it is. And it's also a fallacy that, oh, no, it's only really in the hot weather and in summer that we need to be making sure we're focusing on water. There'll still be aircon on when you're in rooms during the winter time. Your body, each of the cells still has a large amount of water that it needs to be able to function every day. And so what I recommend you do, if you've been like me and you've thought, oh, actually, how much water have I drunk? I think I've drunk enough. And ideally, we're aiming for around 1.5 litres. It depends on your size and it depends how much exercise you're doing. If you use that as a rough guide, and you're welcome to message me to find out more specifics about that, maybe in relation to your own specific case. But measure that out at the beginning of the day, and ideally make it filtered water. Measure that out at the beginning of the day in bottles that you can carry with you if you need to go. Make sure they're BPA-free bottles. And then you'll know that you're on track. So this is such a vital nutrient. It's not a nutrient, but it's such a vital ingredient to our cells. It's not funny. So those are the 5. And I trust that that's useful for you. And when it comes to, I mentioned about low GI, I've had a lot of requests for low GI recipes that are quick, that are cost effective. Low GI, like I mentioned, that really is the key for you. It means that you're going to get way more bang for your buck when it comes to a meal. And so when it comes to the options for those, and I mentioned that I've had a lot of demand, that's where the ebook Delicious Eating Naturally came from. So check out the link. Check out the link below, and yeah, check it out. You can actually have a little look at the book, check it out on the inside, and then go for it. And bear in mind that whenever you choose and you go for that book, it's a way of being able to fund making a difference to help women get back on their feet again financially. So that's what that book is all about. It helps to fund various projects allowing that to happen. Anyway, have a fabulous day, and we'll catch you soon.